My name is Jonathan McIntosh, and I do video remixes, and I call myself a pop culture hacker, which basically means that I pull apart fragments of TV, movies, pop music. I pull them apart and look for their deeper meanings, look for the social and cultural context implications, and then put them back together to create new and alternative narratives. So it's remixing footage, it's remixing music, but it's also remixing the message of that media. I began remixing in 2003. I was watching the U.S. invasion of Iraq. I was very upset about it. I was very angry about it. And I was watching the news every day, 24 hours a day, pretty much, watching, and recording it also. And after the first few days, they start to put the commercials back in. So they have the news report, the commercial, the news report, the commercial, right? And to me, they started to become the same thing, because many of the companies that make the weapons also own the news station, And so I started mixing those two together. And I made very short ads. They were about the war, and they were about the U.S. involvement in the war, and the corporatization of war, and the profit that people were making off of the war.
When you cross into the blue, everything is different and important.
Especially you.
I was being critical, and then I also was very upset about the way that the U.S. media covered the war too. They wouldn't show anyone who was dead. There was no impact really in terms of humanity. It was all about how cool the weapons were. For me, that was distasteful, but it was also, I think, immoral. And so a lot of the remixes that I made was to put those images back in. So it's mixing the ads for cars or toothpaste or whatever with the news footage, but then also bringing in some of the documentary footage that we didn't see in the U.S. Of people who had been killed.
What would you like to do with your life? You want to be like the good guys riding around?
No. To be honest, I want to be in the bad guys. Real bad guys. Bad guys that tie people up. Torture them. Who cares about those good guys? Bad guys. They're the ones.
You may go back to class now, Gary.
Get strength for now, strength for later. Learn more at GoArmy.com.
TV, movies, news, right? Politicians' speeches. They're part of the popular culture. They're part of the way, the language we use to talk to each other. We might meet for our coffee and say, "Oh, did you see that on TV last night?" And you say, "Oh, yeah, I saw that." And we talk about it, right? It's a common language. It's a common ground through which we can talk about larger issues, race, gender, class, war, right? And we can do it in a language that's audiovisual. We don't have to speak the words. We don't have to use text, but we can also use the videos themselves or the audio itself as a way of communicating. One of the projects that I've been doing with young people, like middle school, so like 11, 12 years old, I've recorded a bunch of TV ads directed at kids for G.I. Joe, for Barbie, for Polly Pocket, all these toys. And I brought them into the classroom and we in these workshops, and the young people look at them and we talk about them. What are the boys doing? What are the girls doing? The boys, though, are creating and they're building and they're making things, but they're also being quite violent. A lot of military stuff, a lot of competition, a lot of aggression, right? Whereas on the other side, the young women in those ads are being caring and nurturing and some positive stuff too. And so we talk about all that. And then I have the kids remix the ads. Just take the audio from the girls' ads and put it on the video of the boys' ads.
From Barbie as the island princess. Bella sings with her animal friends. Here on my island, the sea says hello. Magic extends things to all of my friends.
It suddenly becomes incredibly apparent. It's really obvious to everyone, and everyone's sort of laughing, and right. but you're also seeing it. You're seeing what they're doing, what they're telling you about gender. You're seeing those gender stereotypes, and you're breaking them down and creating something new, right? A different vision. And so I find that's a very powerful tool with youth. And then when they go home, hopefully, when they go home and watch TV again, they can't watch it the same way. Because they're always thinking, oh, wouldn't that be interesting if these two things, or what about that, or what is the message, and what if I mixed it with this, and wouldn't that be funny or interesting, you know? And so it's creating, hopefully, it's creating in the minds of young people a more critical way of watching television.
We're in a dark, dark place. We've got some dark dudes coming our way.
Al-Qaeda, Iran,
Islamic jihadists,
Terrorists,
Venezuela,
immigration, Mexicans,
the refugees,
Hispanic groups, South America,
illegal aliens,
Mexico, Chinese.
Everyone is coming.
The enemy is not only in the gates, they're inside the house.
Valientes brillamos como brilla un peso.
Hola, Mex-America.